Today, I'd like to talk about why acknowledging our failure may actually be a good thing. Hello, friends. It's good to be with you as always. Thank you for taking a little time to be with me today. Today, I want to reference a movie on Netflix that my wife and I just watched actually last night. Maybe some of you have seen it already. I believe it just came out in January, and it's called The Dig. It's about an archaeological dig in Suffolk, England, that started in 1938, and I think I'm pronouncing this correctly. The dig is called Sutton Hoo, and it is described as one of the most important archaeological digs ever in the history of the world. And I don't know if I'll be doing any spoilers here. Maybe I will in a way, but the story involves the excavator, the sort of amateur archaeologist. It involves the woman who owns the land, who hires the excavator. And it also involves more than this, but it involves that woman's son. Now, she's a widow. Her husband, the young boy's father, died before the movie began. The boy is maybe 9 or 10 years old, and this is maybe a bit of a spoiler. Turns out this woman is not well. She is sick. And this young boy, this 9 or 10-year-old, is aware of her illness, and he feels responsible for her, in part because after his father died, people told him, "You'll have to take care of your mother now." Maybe not particularly helpful advice for a young boy to hear. And so there's a poignant scene between this young boy and this sort of crotchety old excavator / archaeologist. And here's what the boy says in this touching scene between the two of them in the evening. The boy says, "When my father died, everyone said I had to look after my mother, and I've failed. I've failed." The boy sort of intuits that his mother, again, is not well and perhaps is not long for the world, and he feels responsible. Now, in that moment, you might expect this older man to comfort the boy, to put his arm around the boy and say, "Well, you've done your best," or "No, you really have done a good job." And instead, here's what this man says to this boy. He says the truth. He says, "We all fail every day. There are some things we just can't succeed at, no matter how hard we try." And then he says, "I know that's not what you want to hear. But by naming that truth, it opens up space then for the boy to be honest." And I think the boy at some level recognizes that the man has spoken the truth. We all fail every day. There are some things we just can't succeed at, like, for example, saving our sick mother. And so then the boy says, "I'm stronger than she thinks I am." I think, again, intuiting that maybe she's worried about leaving him behind when she is going to die. Again, sorry if that's a spoiler alert. And the man says, "I know you are. Perhaps you could show her." And so now that the boy has been sort of relieved of the pressure of caring for his mother and acknowledges the fact that, okay, maybe I'm not going to succeed at this, it allows him then to be present to his mother, to demonstrate to his mother that he is stronger than she thinks he is and that he will be okay. And I won't explain how that plays itself out in the movie. Again, I'd encourage you to watch it if you're interested. I was really struck by that scene, and it reminded me of two other passages I will lift up briefly here that I think reinforce the same idea for those of us who are Christians. One of them I'm quite sure I've mentioned in a prior episode. I can't remember when exactly, but it's from Marilynne Robinson, who is a favorite author of mine. It's from a collection of essays called The Death of Adam. And in this particular essay, she's talking about the Christian concept of sin, which sounds like bad news, right? It sounds, oh, it's so depressing, it's so heavy, it's so negative. A little like that man saying what sounds like negative words, "We all fail." And Marilynne Robinson says this: "The belief that we are all sinners gives us excellent grounds for forgiveness and self-forgiveness, and is kindlier. I love that word, is kindlier than any expectation that we might be saints. Even while it affirms, she goes on to say, the expectations or the standards that all of us fail to attain. So similar theme there. We're all sinners, but there's kindness in being told that. Just as there was a deep kindness in that gentleman saying to that poor boy, we all fail. It's part of life, right? So that's the first quote from Marilynne Robinson. The other one is from Mother Teresa. At least it's famously attributed to her. I believe it is a quote from her. And she says, God has not called me to be successful. He has called me to be faithful, right? So we're invited simply to be attentive to what God is asking us to do in our lives, to be present to others, and not necessarily to succeed, at least in success as we might measure it, but to trust that God will worry about how things will end up. So, again, I'd commend that movie to you. I pray that this reflection on failure, on sinfulness, on lack of success, perhaps, will free us, as it freed that boy in the movie, to accept God's love for us and to more fully share it with others. Thanks, as always, for being with me. Be well, stay in touch, and God bless.